After dividing his Samhita into 2 parts, the wise Pila spoke it to Indrapramati and Bashkala. Bashkala further divided his collection into 4 parts, O Bhargava, and instructed them to his disciples Bodhya, Yajnavalkya, Parashara, and Agnimitra. Indrapramati, the self-controlled sage, taught his Samhita to the learned mystic Mandukya, whose disciple Devamitra later passed down the divisions of the Rig Veda to Sobhari and others. The son of Mandukya, named Shakalya, divided his own collection into 5, entrusting 1 subdivision each to Vatsya, Mudgala, Shaliya, Gokhalya, and Shishira. The sage Jatukarnya was also a disciple of Shakalya, and after dividing the Samhita he received from Shakalya into 3 parts, he added a 4th section, a Vedic glossary. He taught 1 of these parts to each of 4 disciples, Balaka, the 2nd Pila, Jabala, and Viraja. Bashkali assembled the Valakilya Samhita, a collection from all the branches of the Rig Veda. This collection was received by Valayani, Bhajya, and Kashara. Thus these various Samhitas of the Rig Veda were maintained through disciplic succession by these saintly Brahmins. Simply by hearing of this distribution of the Vedic hymns, one will be freed from all sins. The disciples of Vaishampayana became authorities in the Atharva Veda. They were known as the Charakas because they executed strict vows to free their guru from his sin of killing a Brahmin. Once, Yajnavalkya, one of the disciples of Vaishampayana, said, "O Master, how much benefit will be derived from the feeble endeavors of these weak disciples of yours? I will personally perform some outstanding penance." Addressed thus, the spiritual master, Vaishampayana, became angry and said, "Go away from here. Enough of you, O disciple who insults Brahmins. Furthermore, you must immediately give back everything I have taught you." Yajnavalkya, the son of Devarata, then vomited the mantras of the Yajurveda and went away from there. The assembled disciples, looking greedily upon these Yajur hymns, assumed the form of partridges and picked them all up. These divisions of the Yajur Veda therefore became known as the most beautiful Taittiriya Samhita, the hymns collected by partridges or Titara. My dear Brahmin Shonika, Yajnavalkya then desired to find out new Yajur mantras unknown to even his spiritual master. With this in mind, he offered attentive worship to the powerful Lord of the Sun. Sri Yajnavalkya said, "I offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead appearing as the Sun. You are present as the controller of the 4 kinds of living entities, beginning from Brahma and extending down to the blades of grass. Just as the sky is present both inside and outside every living being, you exist both within the hearts of all as the Supersoul, and externally in the form of time. Just as the sky cannot be covered by the clouds present within it, you are never covered by any false material designation. By the flow of years, which are made up of the tiny fragments of time called kshanas, lavas, and nimeshas, you alone maintain this world, drying up the waters and giving them back as rain. O glowing one, O powerful Lord of the Sun, you are the chief of all the demigods. I meditate with careful attention on your fiery globe, because for those who offer prayers to you 3 times daily, according to the Vedic method passed down through authorized disciplic succession, you burn away all sinful activities, all consequent suffering, and even the original seed of desire. You are personally present as the indwelling Lord in the hearts of all moving and non-moving beings, who depend completely on your shelter. Indeed, you animate their material minds, senses, and vital airs to act. The world has been seized and swallowed by the python of darkness in its horrible mouth, and has become unconscious, as if dead. But mercifully glancing upon the sleeping people of the world, you raise them up with the gift of sight. Thus you are most magnanimous. At the 3 sacred junctures of each day, you engage the pious in the path of ultimate good, inducing them to perform religious duties that situate them in their spiritual position. Just like an earthly king, you travel about everywhere, spreading fear among the unholy, as the powerful deities of the directions offer you in their folded palms lotus flowers and other respectful presentations. Therefore, my Lord, I am prayerfully approaching your lotus feet, which are honored by the spiritual masters of the 3 worlds, because I hope to receive from you mantras of the Yajurveda unknown to anyone else. Satisfied by such glorification, the powerful sun god assumed the form of a horse and presented to the sage Yajnavalkya Yajur mantras previously unknown in human society. From these countless hundreds of mantras of the Yajurveda, the powerful sage compiled 15 new branches of Vedic literature. These became known as the Vajrasaneya Samhita, because they were produced from the hairs of the horse's mane, and they were accepted in disciplic succession by the followers of Kanva, Madhyandina, and other rishis. Jaimini Rishi, the authority of the Samveda, had a son named Sumantu, and the son of Sumantu was Sudvan. The sage Jaimini spoke to each of them a different part of the Samveda Samhita. Sukarma, another disciple of Jaimini, was a great scholar. He divided the mighty tree of the Samveda into 1,000 Samhitas. Then, O Brahmin, 3 disciples of Sukarma, Hiranyanabha, the son of Kushala, Paushyanji, and Avantya, who was very advanced in spiritual realization, took charge of the Sam mantras. The 500 disciples of Paushyanji and Avantya became known as the northern singers of the Samveda, and in later times some of them also became known as eastern singers. 5 other disciples of Paushyanji, namely Logakshi, Mangali, Kulya, Kushida, and Kukshi, each received 100 Samhitas. Krita, the disciple of Hiranyanabha, spoke 24 Samhitas to his own disciples, and the remaining collections were passed down by the self-realized sage Avantya. Thus ends the 6th chapter of the 12th canto of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, entitled Maharaj Parikshit Passes Away.